The last thing that we need to learn about test classes is seeAllData equals to true. This parameter you need to use alongside your isTest annotation, and you can use it on top of a test method or on top of a test class. Now what it does, it opens up the data access of your Salesforce Aux data to your test methods. So this means even if you are not creating your test data, you can still access your Aux data in your test methods and you can run your test classes. Keep in mind, when you access this Aux data, any changes that you will make in your test classes will not be permanent and will be rolled back as soon as your test execution is complete. So it is safe to test with your Aux existing data, but it is not the recommended way. The reason is you have this data difference between your sandboxes and the production Aux. For example, if you run this test class with seeAllData equals to true in your developer Aux, it may behave differently than your production Aux. Because your production Aux has more data, where your developer Aux or your sandboxes doesn't have that data. So the consistency will not be there. So it's always recommended that you create your test data by yourself and you always keep this seeAllData equals to false. Now let's go back to our test class and we will see, once we make seeAllData equals to true, how our test class behaves. So here in our test class, I'm going to make it seeAllData equals to true. You can do it either here or you can also do it on top of a method as well. So it's up to you if you want to give org-wide access to the complete class or if you only want to open up the access to a particular method. Now let's save our code and deploy our changes. Okay, so we have got an error and it says test class cannot be annotated with seeAllData equals to true. The reason is we have a test setup method. If you have a test setup method, then you cannot use seeAllData equals to true. So either we have to remove our test setup method or we have to remove this seeAllData equals to true annotation. So I'm going to remove my test setup method for now, and then I'll try to deploy my class again. And then I'll show you if we run our test methods, how they behave. This time our deployment is successful. Now let's run all our tests. So you will notice all kind of errors popping up in our test result. All our test methods are failing and I'll show you the reason. The reason is when we write our assert statements, they are based on the test data that we were creating. They are not based on the Aux data. So that's the reason you should always keep this seeAllData equals to false until and unless it is absolute necessary. And in that case also keep that particular method in a separate class so that you can test the other methods with seeAllData equals to false. Now here all our test methods are failing because our test account size could be different, because there could be more number of accounts in our Salesforce Aux than only 2. So let's keep our test setup method and remove this seeAllData equals to true. And you should always avoid having it in the first place until unless it is absolute necessary. So that's all in this video. We'll have a final video on Apex testing where we'll create the delete handler test and the undelete handler test.